So Councillor Flynn was just asking if this is a Smart Centre's public hearing.
They look a lot friendlier.
Oh, you look friendly. You look friendlier, so okay. Starts at 7. She's taking a picture. Smile.
I know.
If it was for the Smart Centers, they'd be a lot louder.
So I'd like to call to order this special council meeting, our inaugural meeting of Monday, November the 5th. And we have we're going to start with a presentation with Councillor Louis Thomas from the Nesconneff Indian Band. And I see his brother Jerry is here as well to do an opening prayer for us.
Good job. I'm not really a firm believer on imposing my religion or culture, whatever you want, on people, because it was done to us for a long time. And what I'd like to do is welcome you all and have a good evening. I'd like to speak it in my language. So uyesiami kuata yana tamiu kchas las aku yam swite up las kchaks and we as you come in at the white yana tamiu las yam white is las kcham yam kcham. Thank you. It's an honor to speak, especially to you, Mayor Nancy Cooper. I think it's your last time we'll call you that.
Maybe I'll be like the president. I'll always be the president. I'll always be the mayor. So some of us are retiring tonight, and so we'll start with the retiring. Ken Jameson and myself will have some few things to say. I actually have a couple of presentations, and then Councillor Mayor-elect Harrison will take over from there. So really, it's been 7 years. I couldn't believe it's been 7 years. I started thinking 7 years is a long time, but it was a great time too. So, but I want to call on Ken Jameson first, if you'd like to make a few remarks. You'll have to keep pushing your button because it's, maybe here. There you go.
You have me now?
You're on.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So I think the real reason people are here is because they know I'm leaving. I want to thank everybody who said thank you tonight. As I walked in, I was thanked many times, and I appreciate that. I think I have something first I want to show. There's a slide that should be coming up. Thanks, Aaron. You should turn around. Mayor-elect.
I've got hair there.
Look at the hair on that guy. And if I'm not mistaken, there's someone else in the room who's in that photo as well. Reg. So, and there's some names there. If you've been around Salmon Arm even a few years, you know some of these people, like Brian and Jim and Ian. Reg, of course. This guy named Harrison. And there's another one. Well, the reason I want to show that one first is because this would be 1976, and we had a showdown. We had a really good ball hockey league going, and Ken Jameson's team faced off against Alan Harrison's team, and Alan Harrison's team won. And so there's the other guy there with the hair on the back. So some more names that you'll recognize. Bob Anderson, he's still around, and Jack, yeah, Ken Burry, Wayne Alto. Some of those guys are still in town or around. So anyway, I'll pass these along, Alan.
Thank you.
As you can see, Alan, even in 1976, assembled a good team. And so I'm confident he's going into this term with a good team. And there's part of me wishes I was part of it. And I am choosing to retire. I didn't want to face the electorate one more time. There's always the greatest fear that you won't get elected. But that's not really why. There's just so many things that I want to speak to. So first, I have to thank the residents of Salmon Arm. It's been a real privilege to serve 3 consecutive terms. Plus, I served in 87, 88, a long time ago when I was a very young guy. And so I've had 4 terms, and I've worked under different mayors and worked with many different councillors. And I want to thank the residents of Salmon Arm the most, though. I really do. Your many words of encouragement and thanks have far outnumbered the complaints and the criticisms. So I'm leaving with a buoyant heart in that way. I have to thank my former employer, still current employer, School District 83, for granting me so many discretionary leaves. I don't know how many days I ran out of class to go to a meeting and ran out of meeting to go back to class. And if it wasn't for the likes of Glenn Borthistle, who supported me all the way, my principals, Bruce Weicker for a while, Shane Corsten, Doug Cumming, and most recently Wendy Woodhurst. They've all been really supportive in everything that I've done and everything that I plan to do. And also to my colleagues, the many teacher friends and who covered me here and covered me there and made up excuses for me. Thank you to staff here at City Hall. The many inside and outside workers that make Salmon Arm such a great place to live, such a livable city. And a ton of that credit goes to Carl Bannister. Carl has assembled a stellar team here at City Hall and around. It's allowed the directors to assemble other support staff and other crews. And so whether you be an inside worker or an outside worker, in an office where people don't see you or at the front counter, you're very exceptional. You're very good at what you do. You've made my job easier. We have a terrific mix of young homegrown talent coming up in City Hall now and around in the other crews. Experienced and thoughtful middle career people. And we even have some people who are inching towards retirement who are kind of our anchors here, and their experience and their thoughtfulness and the expertise that they have really hold everything together. And then there's this group that I'm sitting with today. Thank you so much to this group of councillors, especially Mayor Cooper and the others who came before. I've tried my best to build and maintain bridges with each of you. And I wanted to make sure our relationships were genuine and respectful, and I sincerely hope that you felt that vibe from me. You've patiently listened to my filibusters and very bad jokes. You support me. Your support of me and this community will forever be appreciated. The last 10 years has seen great change in Salmon Arm, and for me personally, we have moved from one home to another. My wife and I have traveled to about 15 countries. Both my wife and I have recently retired from full-time work. I've lost several close friends, both my brother and my sister. And last year, our grandson was badly injured was badly burned in an accident. He's near full recovery now. And through all that, I've had the real honor of delivering 4 eulogies at 4 celebrations of life. But the one that I think I'll forever cherish is being able to hold seven newborn grandchildren and the promise of another to come in 2 months. So the greatest thanks has to go to my family, and especially my wife, Pam. She said, don't say anything about me. She also told me, don't wear a shirt that has white in it. You don't do that after Labor Day. And she has supported me in too many ways to list, and has flexed her schedule more than any partner should have done. So thank you, Pammy. I love you. Thank you so much. My family and my friends are the true reason I chose not to run again. I don't want to miss out on what they add to my life. And with our 8th grandchild coming and retirement from full-time teaching now a reality, I want to spend more time with each other. We want to spend more time with each other. Our brood continue traveling as we have been so fortunate to do over the past decade, and to enjoy the many, many, many opportunities that Salmon Harm has to offer. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, it's not on here, but go ahead.
Councillor Jameson, you like the last word, but not today. Ken, I know there was many people who would like to speak about you. We have a community member, Jack Bowers, who'd like to come forward and talk a little bit about you and your family. So I'd ask Jack if you wouldn't mind coming forward, and if we could move the camera so that the audience can see Jack, that would be terrific.
Thank you very much, Alan and Nancy, for allowing me to be here. And Ken, you set the tone for the talk, so I'm glad you did. A tribute and acknowledgement to Ken Jameson, a retired, dedicated, inspirational councillor for the city of Salmon Arm, and equally so to the schools and all residents of Salmon Arm and the shoe shop. Especially thank again the mayor and the council for allowing me for a few moments to personally share some thoughts and some sights and who Ken Jameson is. It's impossible for me, and the reason I'm up here really is because, as Ken, you are leaving. But really thinking of your mom, your dad, your brother, and your sister. Because they have been an inspiration to me and have been part of my history and my life here in Salmon Arm. Ken is part of the history now of Salmon Arm. He loved history along with sports, and his family is also a very big part of the shoe shop, and certainly a huge part of the early days of the village of Salmon Arm. And I think the press should not lose sight of this. Ken's father, Jack Jameson, also loved sports. Traveled the back roads to various fishing holes, dragging Ken along, working with such of the old timers that only us that have lived here for a while remember, Calvert Construction. And then he worked for R.A. Jameson, his brother, with such key men as Jack Phillips and Sid Bedwell. Building Salmon Arm after the war, building the tax base. Isn't that incredible? Ken building the tax base. Now in 2018, but his dad helping that back in the 40s. His mother, Evelyn, and I think most of you know, she was a Hopkins. Evelyn Hopkins. Anybody that lived in Salmon Arm for a while must know that infamous name. The name continues to be well known and respected. His sister Caroline, as Ken mentioned, passed away, but she also was basketball sports. Salmon Arm in Alberta, passing away in 16. His brother Doug, no surprise, basketball and sports. And in Quesnel, passing away in 2017. And I'm pleased to say that his wife is sitting up here beside Pam, who came all the way down here from Quesnel just to be part of Ken's farewell. Again, the respect. Caroline, Doug, and Ken, again, no surprise. All teachers, all coaches, all mentors. Like his siblings, graduated from university, taught, coached, mentored, and gave back to the communities. And I think all the current counselors and the past counselors that have served with Ken know that he excelled with this. He is a referee, never taking, and as you know, referees never take a headline after a game. You only hear about the star players. You don't hear about who reffed it. You know, and I think, you know, for the mayor, your name's in the press all the time. The odd time we see Ken's picture, not under the want ads, but it's in there as well. And I Googled it just for interesting thing to see really what the definition of a referee is. I actually have to lie. I wanted to make sure I spelled it right. Enforce the rules, maintains order of the game, and has a whistle. I'm sure back in the 80s when Ken was just a young man on council, you know, many times he felt he should come to a council meeting with a whistle. I don't think you did, Ken. Thank goodness the current council, you know, none of that has happened. You know, he played hard, he worked hard, and to think that this young man, again, thinking back in the 80s when his first term was on for 2 years, you know, he was inspirational in making sure that Canoe got a play area and a play park at the beach. Several years later, Ken returned to council and brought wisdom, time, energy, and experience to the table. Countless hours of studying, touring, phone calls, adjusting his family life, and yes, along with this, he taught, coached, and being a big referee with the likes of the late Barry Deering. And again, it's too easy for us that sort of maybe have a day job to think of this, that all the games that he played, all the referee, you know, that's done at nighttime, it's done on weekends, and council meetings are various times. So it takes me great honor to acknowledge Ken, along with all the councillors, for the dedication they make to Salmon Arm, and to make Salmon Arm the fantastic community it has been, and what it will continue to be. Some recent comments, we need a change. I heard, as many of you did, nothing is happening. What? And when I typed this down, I thought, boy, I really am getting old. Nothing's happened in Salmon Arm the last 10 years, somebody told me. I find that hard to believe. We're the largest percentage growth per capita in the whole province of communities over 5,000. Yet people have the gall to say nothing is happening. So I thank Ken for taking time, energy, and love of Salmon Arm and the shoe shop, and taking time to make a difference. You know, you now are a key man, along with your mother and father, of the history of Salmon Arm. I know for a fact your mother and father, brother Doug, sister Caroline, along with the countless Hopkins and Jameson's relatives, join me in saying, well done, young man. Well done, young Ken. You have matured into a fantastic grandfather, and thank you, Pam, Hannah, Grant, and Nash, for allowing Ken to be Ken, and allowing Ken to be part of our lives. And I encourage the current council and the ones to come to continue our growth in Salmon Arm with the gift of Ken. Based on the facts, the history, common sense, and the organized growth with the definition of the referee. Enforce the rules. Maintain order. So with this, Ken, enjoy your retirement. I heard you say as you come in, what's retirement? He's still filling in at the schools of all ages, but he is going to travel. And as a grandfather myself, you've done the best thing you can do. Go forth with the grandchildren, have fun, and they will teach you way more than anybody else has taught you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you for those reflections. I think it's so important that we don't move forward without remembering the contributions of people that are here. I've been asked on behalf of council just to share a few comments about Ken and our experience that we've had here together. So, Ken is a man of integrity. He has a very strong value system. Ken consistently makes decisions based on those values. And because of this consistency, Ken has earned the respect of both council and the citizens of Salmon Arm across the spectrum. Ken is a kind and caring person. No matter the issue, regardless of who he was addressing, Ken treats others with sensitivity and empathy. One of my very favorite things about you, Ken, is that when you debate issues. You don't debate personalities, and we appreciate that here. Ken is very passionate about Salmon Arm. When Ken speaks about issues in our community, you can feel how much he cares for this place. Ken has helped Salmon Arm grow, as Jack alluded to, understanding that change can be win-win, retaining that small-town feel of Salmon Arm while sharing it with those wanting to move to this wonderful place. Ken, you've contributed to council in every facet during your time at this table. Where Ken has been especially effective and where he has kept council current is on land use issues. Two of Ken's favorite quotes, which we have heard here and appreciate, are, 1, we cannot make any more farmland. And 2, although this may not be prime farmland, it can be used to grow things. I really appreciate those reminders. Ken has also been a big supporter of trails and greenways. His critical eye during rezonings and subdivision applications has been very helpful. The final thing I'd like to say about Ken is that he is his own man. Over his term on council, I'm sure that Ken has voted with and against every one of us at this table. Ken emulates what small town local government should be. Independent decision-making based on a councillor's interpretation of the information that they have. So Ken, enjoy your ever-growing family. Enjoy being able to travel when and where you and Pam choose to go. We know that our paths will cross. Over the next 4 years, we look forward to seeing you out and about in our community. Thank you on behalf of council for your years of dedication to our city. We will miss you at this table. We would like to make a small presentation to you. I'd ask Councillor Wallace Richmond. Councillor Wallace Richmond will lead the way, and thank you, Councillor Wallace Richmond, on helping out.
Okay, so it's my turn. I have to change glasses here. So I want to thank you all for coming and for allowing me to be the mayor here for 2 terms. You know, it is an absolute privilege to work for the city of Salmon Arm, to be the mayor, to be out there representing you and meeting with you and hearing what your concerns are. And there's lots of times I've been somewhere and heard something from someone that and at another thing I hear something else and I can get the 2 together. So it's just amazing to be here and to have been here for 2 terms. And you know, Salmon Arm has really grown in these last 7 years, although some people didn't seem to notice. And I see it continue to grow, and with more jobs available, and we're going to see more people moving here, more young adults, more families, and they're going to find their place here. Because what I'm hearing from the commercial and industrial, that there's new projects that will be starting in the next couple of years. I've heard of 3 of them that you're going to be hearing about in the next while, industrial ones. So, I think we'll even see a new school opening. But Salmon Arm's changing, and sometimes change is hard. We're going to see the branding project and the new branding launch in in a few days. And then right on the heels of that is also the Innovation Center. And, Salmon Arm has really grown up in the tech industry in this last while, and thanks to Lana for all the work that she does. It's just, our Economic Development Society is pretty amazing, and we really appreciate them. The Ross Street Underpass got the go-ahead. So, as I said, Salmon Arm is changing. 63% in favor. So while I'm not sure exactly when the construction will start, and I don't know even if our CAO knows that, but it will be, I believe, sometime next summer. And at the Development and Planning meeting this morning, we looked at 3 cannabis store applications. I said Salmon Arm's changing. 2 of them maybe fit a little more than another one, but that'll be coming to a public hearing in a couple weeks. And is it a couple weeks? Yeah, a couple weeks. So it's going to be that's going to be interesting. I really do believe, too, that the Trans-Canada Highway widening is going to go ahead. Honestly, and the new bridge, I do believe that. And, we've worked really hard with our First Nations people. I really appreciate Louis Thomas and Jerry and all of them, because we did sign a communications agreement with them just recently, and to me that was a huge step forward. And I really see us working with our neighbors, our First Nations neighbors, as we move ahead. I think there's lots of projects, and I think all of Council and Mayor-elect Harrison are all behind that too. So lots of things happening. We've started to talk about a new recreation center. That one opened in 1986. It's time for upgrade. We've grown, and the need is there. So you're going to hear more and more about that, and try to stay on top of it. Read the papers or go to the city website or our Facebook or Twitter, and try and keep on top of that so you can have input. We've had quite a bit of input on the surveys already, but we want everybody to really be there, and we want to know what they're going to want to know what you guys think all along. So please stay on top of that. So the next few years, or the next several years, as I said, I see change and I see growth happening. It's going to be good, and Salmon Arm's going to be in really good hands. You've elected a really great mayor and council, and so going forward, you're in good hands. And I also would like to say some thank yous, and it's family that makes it possible for you to do these things. Harry's back there with his camera taking pictures again. He's with me all the time. He's been everywhere, so I really appreciate his patience, and my family. My daughter is here, and Roxy, and it's just the family. If they weren't as supportive or so supportive, you just couldn't do this job. So I really thank my family and my husband and my little dog that makes me laugh all the time, even if I was feeling a little down. She's so funny. I also, city staff, our senior staff here are pretty wonderful. Rob hugged me today, made me cry, but we really appreciate them. And all of the staff here at City Hall, the front counter people who are so patient and work so hard, and all the people behind the scenes too, our building department and our engineering and just accounting, which you don't see, they're up there in the corner, but they all work really, really hard, and so I really appreciate them. They're always giving us good information. We ask for a report, they work really hard and bring us the latest information, so really appreciate them, and really appreciate the people up at the top shop. So our public works, I don't know if you know it, but we call it the top shop because they're at the top of the hill. And all of them too, they work really hard. And you see the flowers, and then you see the snow plowing, and you see all the work that they do, and you just go up and thank them when you see them, because they do. They all work very, very hard. And so I've really appreciated getting to know them and working with them. But there's also, there's the unsung heroes, the ones that you don't see, the people at the water treatment plant. The only time we think about them is if suddenly we go to turn on the tap and there's no water, and we're like, ah. but they're up there all the time producing, fresh, clean water for us. And the sewage treatment plant also, same thing. You know what? We never really noticed them, but if for some reason our toilet backed up, we would be all over them. So we appreciate the people that are working behind the scenes, and I want to thank them. And the RCMP, we've had such a great relationship with Staff Sergeant Scott West, so thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate all you do. We know that you have a tough job, and we wanted to support you, and I know the council will continue to support you. And another one that would make me cry is the fire department. You may not know it, but I love the red fire trucks, red shiny trucks with flashing lights. We appreciate what they do. They train all the time. The majority of them, except for a couple that are full-time, most of them are paid on call. So they're volunteering basically to go out, to run into burning buildings, to save your homes, to save people's lives. And so working with the fire department has just been an amazing experience as well, and a real privilege. So I appreciate them so much, and I want to thank them. And then a special thank you to Carl Bannister. I don't know how he does all the things that he does. He is in charge here. He just is so supportive of council, so supportive of all of the staff. People don't understand, but Carl Bannister really is the glue that holds everything together. And so, Carl, thank you so much. Thank you for all your help, for your encouragement, for your sharing your knowledge, and always being there. We just a huge thank you to you. It's been an honor working with all of the city staff. So I'd like to also thank council members. You've been very patient with me. I'm not always the easiest person, and I'm sure they could tell you that. But thankfully they don't. But I really appreciate them. They all work really hard, and they're always have Salmon Arm's best interest at heart. They're not trying to be political in any way. They're always just trying to be, okay, what is the best for Salmon Arm? And sometimes that's not a popular decision. But they're willing to make those hard decisions too, and so I really have appreciated working with all of them. So I have a few presentations of my own that I'd like to give out. I don't know, some of you may have been here when we've had sports teams here, and whether it's a basketball team or a swim team or whatever it is that has won a provincial championship, or something. Some are distinguished. We invite them in and we give them a certificate, and we talk to the parents and tell the parents about how great it is that they support their youth in their endeavors, and we thank the volunteers, and we tell everybody to take out your cameras. So if you have a camera, you might want to take it out. So I'm going to go down front, because we always come down front, and then I'll call everybody one at a time. So, we just got through the baseball finals and the World Series, and my husband watches all of the sports. Doesn't matter what it is, he's always watching. So I saw a lot of baseball. So these certificates are kind of based on baseball. Oh, I'll leave Alan's for last. So Councillor Ken Jamieson, if you'd like to come down. Councillor Ken Jamieson, Team Salmon Arm. He gets a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he is a Hall of Fame inductee. Councillor Wallace Richmond. So for Team Salmon Arm, she really is the rookie of the 2014-2018 term. Just a great job. So top rookie of the year, or of the term. And then I have, let's see, I have Tim Lavery here next, so maybe I'll call him down. Tim Lavery, anybody idea what maybe his award is? Top scorer for 2018. Yes. Oh, Councillor Eliason, come on down. Councillor Eliason, most consecutive home runs, 5 terms in a row. Councillor Kevin Flynn. No matter what happens, you always know that Councillor Flynn is going to be there. He's going to speak up. He is most consistent player of the year. I have a couple more to give out too. I'd like to call up Debbie Cannon. So Debbie Cannon is the comeback player of the year. And Sylvia Lindgren, come on down. Sylvia is #1 draft pick for 2018. Alan Harrison, come on down. Got a few things for him. So, of course, for Team Salmon Arm, Councillor Harrison is the new head coach and cleanup hitter. First of all, I have here, Councillor Harrison, come back. What I have here is the key to the Oval Office. I want to do a formal passing of the gavel. You know, so this is kind of a small gavel, and there are times when you need something just a little bit more. For those public hearings or council members, yeah. And the final presentation is, mayors do a lot of ribbon cutting, and sometimes the scissors they give you to use are just not quite sharp enough. So I wanted to make sure that I handed over the good pair of scissors to to Mayor-elect. There you go. So that's my presentation, and I'll just grab my stuff and I'll head down and out so you can carry on with the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for all that you've done for us for 7 years. We appreciate it. I know Councillor Louis Thomas from the Sconlith Band would like to say a few words. So Louis, if you would like to come forward and address Mayor Cooper, that would be terrific. Thank you.
Not like all our previous speakers, I'll be short and sweet. First of all, I really appreciate Mayor Nancy Cooper and all our council members, because I think this is the first time that we've been recognized under your tenure as being part of the community, and I think our people really appreciate that. And you've done a terrific job, and we had some hiccups along the way, especially the Smart Center. But we've learned to get past that, and I think it's all about our community and our people in it, and we want the best for our people. And I was at a meeting all day today, and I don't have really anything, but I have here in my possession, I wear it in honor of all our people who served in both wars, and I wear it because I remembered them, our people went to both wars, and I wear this poppy that was made, and if I can get it off, and I'd like to present it to you to remember your service to your country. And it's a permanent one. If I can get it off. It's so permanent, it doesn't want to leave me. But it's my token to you, because I was at an all-day meeting today, and where did she go? I'm looking forward to working with the new council in the future, but maybe not. I hope I get a send off like this, because we're going up for re-elections too fairly soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
One more, Nancy.
Nancy, Councillor Wallace Richmond would also like to address you.
Got one more here.
My name is Jerry Thomas, Louis' brother. On behalf of me and my wife, I'd like to honor her with a birchbark basket that we made for her. That's all the hard work you did for the community. Thank you.
Your worship, can I have one more word, your worship? Maybe you want to stand here where we can all see you? Just one more time. Okay, great, thank you. First of all, a sincere thank you to you for your long-standing service to Salmon Arm, and to Harry and to your entire family. For their support of your work and your commitment to our community. You have always said that being the mayor of Salmon Arm is the best job in the world, and I believe you. But just because it's the best job in the world doesn't mean it's always the easiest one. And we are grateful to you and all of the sacrifices you have made to serve our community. Now, it's difficult to sum up all those years of service in a single statement, but I kept coming back to one word, and that one word is noble. You have always stood up for Salmon Arm, empowered community members to do their best, face adversity with bravery, and success with grace. And I really admire you for it. You have also been my soul sister on this council, and we have shared much as soul sisters, including a love of poetry. So I turn to a passage from a poem by Alice Gray, an American poet from the mid-19th century, as a nod to your American story. True worth is in being, not seeming, in doing each day that goes by, some little good, not in dreaming, of great things to do by and by. For whatever men say in their blindness, and spite of the fancies of youth, there is nothing so kingly as kindness, and nothing so royal as truth. Now, on a lighter note, and as a nod to your Canadian story, we would like to present you with a small token of all of our appreciation for all the work you did. And it might not surprise you to learn that it's a hockey jersey, because... And now I'm going to quote the famous Sidney Crosby, who said, "I always play for the team on the front of my jersey, and not the name on the back of my jersey." So our jersey for you has the new branding, which you were so instrumental in creating, and your name on the back. And we're so grateful for everything you've done. Thank you very much. There we go.
So I'll pass this next piece of business over to the administrator, which is the oath of office.
Yes, thank you. And we would ask Judge DeWall to come to the podium to do the administration.
Thank you. Once again, it's a great pleasure to be here again. I was here 4 years ago and delivered what I thought was a very rousing speech about democracy, thinking it was the last time I would be here, and then learned afterwards that it was a 4-year term and not a 3-year term. So I retire on February the 1st coming up. This will probably be for sure the last time. I've had the pleasure of presiding over these functions for many years in the northwest of our province on many First Nations territories. And at 5 o'clock today, I was in Sycamore swearing in the council there, which was like this, a packed house, and very inspirational. So thank you very much for having me back, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here and be part of this process. So I will call first on Alan Harrison. I'm going to have each of the individuals that come forward read the oath of office, and yours, of course, is the oath of office of the mayor. And if you would just read this out loud, please.
I, Alan Harrison of Salmon, British Columbia, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of mayor for the city of Salmon, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
Okay, and you affirm that to be true?
I do.
Just have you sign right here.
Thank you very much.
Next, I will call on Kevin Flynn. And I would ask that you read the oath of office as set out.
I, Kevin Flynn of Salmon, British Columbia, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the city of Salmon, to which I have been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. And as required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
And you affirm that to be true?
I affirm that to be true.
Just sign right here.
I don't want to say I do to you. So.
Just don't say I'm guilty. I'll give you a slide here.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Next, I call on Louise Richmond. All right, if you would read the oath of office, please.
I, Louise Wallace Richmond of Salmon Arm, British Columbia, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Salmon Arm, to which I have been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
And you affirm that to be true?
I do.
Right, just sign right there. Sylvia Lindgren? The oath of office, please.
I, Sylvia Lindgren of Salmon Arm, BC, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Salmon Arm, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
And you affirm that to be true?
I do.
Okay, just have you sign on this side. Next is Timothy Leary.
I, Timothy Larrabee of Salmon Arm, British Columbia, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Salmon Arm, to which I have been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in the respect of the matter.
And you affirm that to be
I
true?
do so.
All right, just have you sign right here. Yep. Just hang on for a minute. Next we have Debbie Cannon. You would read this out loud.
I, Debbie Cannon of Tappan, BC, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Salmon Arm, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act, respectively vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
Okay, and you affirm that to be true?
I do.
Sign right here. Just hang on for a sec. Congratulations. Chad Eliason.
I was hoping it was me.
At least, right? And would you read your oath of office, please?
I, Chad Eliason of Salmon, British Columbia, do solemnly affirm that I'm qualified to hold the office of councillor for the city of Salmon, to which I've been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the local government act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform my duties of my office and will not allow my private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
And you affirm that to be true?
I do.
Congratulations.
I'm feeling like this is the left and the right, actually.
It's my pleasure to welcome you all. Thank you. It's great to have a full gallery and present to you your council that you've elected for the next 4 years in Salmon Arm. Our meeting this evening has a few more small pieces of business, followed by a social with cake. We ask that you stay. Just before we start the business, we're all going to get up and stretch because we've been up and down and you people have been seated there. So this is my school teacher practice. Everybody up. Okay, now we're ready.
Gotta be careful, they might leave when you do that.
So I welcome our newly elected councillors and our councillors who were here previously, and I'm going to invite each of them to say a few words, starting with Councillor Lavery. If you press your button when I call your name, we will put your mic on for you. You on?
Thank you, Mayor Harrison. I want to thank Councillor Louis Thomas for opening remarks and a prayer. Thank you very much, Louis. Judge DeWall, thank you for the swearing in. He's gone. He's gone. Thank you, Judge, for the attestment. To those in the gallery, thank you for coming out. It's really, it's wonderful to see the support of our friends and our family here. I would note that two things. One is that we have some of the students from the Politics 11 and 12 class that are here. I was wondering if you could just put up your hands, please, so people could see who you are.
Good to have you here.
These are, these are students interested in local government. This is year 2 of a wonderful pilot project that's being recognized throughout the province. And Graham Gom is a teacher from Sass Sullivan, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Graham too. Thank you, Graham. I do want to thank our fire chief and our RCMP supervisor for keeping Roy under control. Thank you for being here. And finally to my family, Nancy, my wife, Nancy Colkind is here. Thanks for the support. Others have mentioned it, but it really is a whole family. It has to adjust their time schedules to support us being up here and doing our job. So thank you to family as well. Thank you, Nancy. It's been a really incredible pleasure to serve Salmon Arm these past 4 years. I have driven down roads and lanes that I never knew existed. I have been aware of bylaws and known they've existed, but never fully recognized the their full purpose or the implications of why we do what we do, and that's something that, you know, I've learned. I've quickly, and others have alluded to it, appreciated that this is actually a human and a personal position as much as it is a political one. As a table here, as staff, inside and outside staff, senior admin, we have gone through health issues, births, and losses of family members. I think probably most folks at this table here have lost a significant family member in the past year. And I have to say the support overall, as we are a human organization, has been, it's been an honor to be part of, and I've appreciated the support that I've got from that. I've also come to more fully appreciate, and so I didn't think I would appreciate it as much, just how much of a great community the Salmon Arm is. I had a sense, knowing how good we are, but until you do this position and this job, it just grows on you absolutely. I'm pretty sure we all recognize the effects of toxicity in politics and divisiveness in politics. We see that elsewhere. But it's certainly my commitment that as we deal with the issues that are in front of us, as we make the decisions that we have to make, it will be based on respectful conversations in sometimes difficult topics. It will be ensuring that Salmon Arm remains as inclusive, collaborative, involved community as we can be, and that we will be safe and healthy and move forward. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and it's onward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery. Councillor Eliason.
Thanks, Mayor Harrison. I was just chilling out, expecting to go last, but you threw me a curveball over here. I know my dad's not much for meetings. So I think he took off after the swearing in, not expecting speeches, and I think he just didn't want to be thanked for being the best sign crew in Salmon Arm history. He makes those every year, every time. It's just like, hey, Dad, and he's like, oh, time for signs, and they're up. If they get put down, they're back up, and they work, and so. A big thank you to my family. The rest of my crew is over here. My niece Mila, my nephew Eli, my brother-in-law Mike, and my sister Tracy. I wouldn't be here to do this without you guys. And now you guys probably think how crazy we are for doing this job and coming to these sorts of meetings. But it's what we do, and what you've heard here is that we really do it for our love of the community. We do it. And you guys know, because you are connected to the people up here, and you know how hard the work is, and you know the passion that this table puts behind it. And we're not up here for, you know, the fame or the power or anything that goes with it. We're really being a big fish in a small pond isn't so much fun. But we're here to make the community better. And to the people who have come before us and done the hard work and done the heavy lifting, I say thank you. To the people who offered to do the job, I know Carmen's here. I saw Joe earlier. Aaron's here. Mary Lou, she is gone, but she was here. And Marg's here. Is Marg still here? Yeah. Marg's right there. I mean, these are people who Marg was here forever. And so a lot of the great things you see around Salmon Arm, no, really, like a long time, which is awesome. Go look at the pictures on the wall outside. You'll just like, Marg. And so, you know, it's great. And people, like, tons and tons of hours that you put in. But a lot of great things have been done in Salmon Arm. And I think that this group here is ready to do some great things. And I know we're ready to work hard. I know we're ready to work together. And we've been talking about it, and we're going to make a plan that makes Salmon Arm a really great place to live in now. But I think we're going to do some work that's going to make Salmon Arm a really great place to live in the future. And I'm excited about those things. And so I'm looking forward to the next 4 years with you guys. And I'd like to thank everyone here who's helped out to get this team and everyone else elected. So I'm excited, and thank you, Your Worship, and carry on.
Thank you, Councillor Eliason. Welcome, Councillor Lindgren. Press your button.
Yeah. This one.
Press it again.
It's on now.
Got it? Okay.
So I don't have a speech like they have a speech because I haven't been here before, so I don't even know who I should thank, except thank you to the people of Salmon Arm for electing me, and thank you to all of you who've come to welcome the new council. Thank you to the staff who've been showing me around City Hall and helping me get my paperwork done and show me where the bathroom is. Thank you to the councillors that have met with me and welcomed me and are already starting to teach me what needs to be done. Thank you to my CUPE family who have supported me for years in the pursuits that I have ventured on. And thank you to Brian and Rochelle Marr for always being my #1 cheerleaders. And thanks to my husband, because if he wasn't at home doing the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and looking after our granddaughter, I wouldn't be able to do any of the things that I do. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Lindgren, and good teams have new people and experienced people. We're really happy to have you here. Councillor Cannon.
Great, thank you. I guess the common thread that we're hearing as everyone speaks is that for anyone to take this spot up here, the thanks really goes out to our families. I know myself, after doing 3 terms on council and taking a 4-year break in this last term, you know, the decision of whether I was going to run again in the next election really was something that I discussed with my husband and my kids, and then it went from there. And they're really the team that is behind, I think, probably every one of us that is up here is our family. And so the thanks goes out to my family and the residents of Salmon Arm that voted for me, because I'm so pleased to be back up here, because Salmon Arm is such a great place, and I want to be a big part of what the decisions that we make going forward. And I think, as others have said, this is going to be a great team, and I really look forward to working with staff and this team that we have up here. So thanks again for everyone that, you know, decided to put the X by my name, because I'm really happy to be up here.
Thank you, Councillor Cannon. We are happy to have you back. Councillor Wallace-Richmond.
Thanks, Your Worship. Mayor Harrison, fellow councillors, city staff, distinguished guests, colleagues, families, friends, and neighbors. Thank you for the trust and confidence you've put in me to serve at this table. It's an honor and a privilege for which I am truly grateful, and I take very much to heart. And while you only get to vote for those of us at this table once every 4 years, the truth is you vote every day. You vote at your kitchen table, you vote at your boardroom table, you vote at your lunch tables, your lunchroom tables, you vote at the coffee shop table, you even vote at your picnic tables. And around those tables are made the decisions that fuel this community forward, because you decide to invest, you decide to build, you decide to improve, to repair, to donate, to volunteer, to help Salmon Arm reach its potential. And because of you, we get to vote here, but we get to vote on things like zoning and development, public works, fire, police, water, sewer, storm, parks, roads, arts, and recreation. As a council, we will need your counsel, your ideas, your concerns, your criticisms, and even the occasional compliment wouldn't go by too badly. So please, I ask you to stay informed and engaged at the tables that you do make decisions at, as well as our table here. For through communication and collaboration, we make a meaningful collective impact measured by belonging, inclusion, contribution, consequence, respect, and responsibility. I am ready to pull up a chair and roll up my sleeves and get back to work. But I can't do it alone, and I certainly couldn't do it without my husband Dave and my canoe family, and even my Ottawa family who showed up surprisingly on Saturday night. So thank you for being here. But I can't do it alone, as I said, and I will always leave an extra chair at the table as long as you're willing to meet me there. So I look forward to what happens next, and I thank you in advance for the important role you will all play in the future of Salmon Arm. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Wallace Richmond. You have earned your spot back here. Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Your Worship. Have you got the timer going, Councillor Eliason? Okay, thank you. Well, in honor of Councillor Jameson's retirement, and we are going to miss you, Ken, I'm going to use his infamous or famous and beloved letter system that he regularly used to provide a theme for his council statements, kind of in the vein of Sesame Street. We will keep your tradition alive, Ken. I'm going to adapt and use a multi-letter approach, and my 4 letters tonight will be T, E, A, and M. Starting with T, it's for thanks. First of all, thanks to all of you for sharing this awesome night with all of us. Thanks to Salmon Arm and its citizens for re-electing me to another 4-year term, and for the 5th opportunity to represent you all. I am honored and humbled. Thanks to Mayor Cooper and Councillor Jameson for all the time you have devoted to our community over the years. Thanks to staff, City Hall, Top Shop, Fire Halls, all the volunteers, and everybody for all the work you do in supporting our initiative, needs, and wants. We could not survive and thrive without your support. And finally, thanks to my family and my team at work, and Kathy is truly the anchor for both our family and my work. You all support me and give me the flexibility to effectively, I hope, serve our community. So that's T, just thanks to everybody. For the E, enthusiasm, eagerness, and excitement. I have them all sitting here and looking forward to working with this great group of people for the next 4 years. I encourage you all to be engaged. There's E. Please provide us with input. For A, we must be accountable as we allocate limited resources of time, land, people, and especially money, and we must be accessible to you. We also must accept and acknowledge that which is our responsibility and work with other levels of government, federal, provincial, regional, First Nations, to change, improve, enhance in all areas of our joint responsibility. And finally, M, message and mandate. Despite the negative misinformation, Salmon Arm was smart. 63% voted in favor of the underpass, and the results of the election sent a very clear message and clearly give us at this table a strong mandate of support. The strategic plan, the financial plan, the underpass, the way our council staff team have been working with our community was strongly endorsed by Salmon Arm citizens and voters. I will work hard to keep the momentum going as part of the team, and will try to do my part to the best of my ability. This should be a lot of fun as we work together to make Salmon Arm even better, which is hard to believe. Salmon Arm, this is your team. Cheer us on when appropriate. Boo us when appropriate. But most importantly, work with us. I am extremely proud to join the other 6 here to be a member on your team. Thank you, and it's going to be a great 4 years.
Thank you, Councillor Flynn. I would also like to start with just a few thanks. I'd like to start by thanking my friends out there. Over the course of the last year, I've met a whole bunch of new people and new friends, and I have people who I've known for a long time who are friends who are here tonight. And I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for your friendship. I also want to thank my family, my dad and Betty, great to have you here, my brother Trevor, his partner Shannon, and of course my wife Debbie. Thank you, and other councillors have spoken about it. You can't do this job on your own. So thank you so much. I humbly take this mayor's seat, knowing that I'm working with an incredibly competent council and a highly skilled staff. I thank the people of Salmon Arm for their endorsement. I intend to lead our community forward with confidence and in a positive way. We know the key to moving forward is through building positive relationships and shared leadership. Together we can build a strong community. Tonight I'd like to share 5 goals that we can achieve. Number 1, we are going to build the Ross Street Underpass. Number 2, we are going to see the Salmon River Bridge and Highway project west of Salmon Arm completed. Number 3, we are going to work with our First Nations neighbors. We are going to work with them to move the dream of the West Bay Connector forward. Number 4, we are going to carry forward our new brand, Small City, Big Ideas. We are going to share our story in a united way, supporting our ever-growing tech and innovation sector. And number 5, on July 1st, we will implement curbside collection of organics. And in addition, I plan to bring forward to Council for their consideration legislation banning the use of plastic bags in grocery stores. In addition to these 5 shared goals, I will help support many of the goals that this Council is carrying forward. I feel very privileged to have the opportunity to help make these things happen. Thank you very much. Our next order of business is the 2019 Council meeting schedule and 2019 Development and Planning Services Committee meeting schedule. Not sure, staff, if you want to put that up on the screen. And Administrator, I will have you read the motion.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Lavery, seconded by Councillor Cannon, that Council adopt the 2019 Council meeting schedule and the 2019 Development and Planning Services Committee meeting schedule as circulated.
Thank you very much. And for people in the audience, this is just a confirmation of when we will be meeting. Is there any discussion about the motion?
We expect them here.
Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Okay, we're off to a good start.
Only 2 more till.
Okay, the next item is committee appointments and deputy mayor appointments. I would ask for a motion from the floor.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Eliason. And a seconder, Councillor Flynn. Is there any comments from councillors about the committee appointments? Councillor Eliason, I see your...
Oh,
no, okay. Right. If there's not, I would like to make a few comments just about committees, because I think they're very important. The work that councillors do on committees is often unseen work, yet it is amongst the most important work that we do here. I want to thank councillors for their part in building committee assignments that allow each councillor to use their strengths in the very best way for the city. And I want to review briefly these committee assignments and our rationale for them. First of all, there's 2 kinds of committees. 1, there's committees of council that the city forms, and councillors generally chair these. There's 10 of them. And then there are community, boards, societies, and departments where councillors serve as providers of information and facilitate communication to and from these groups. There's 20 of those. Both of those are important. Before speaking of individual councillor assignments, it's important to know that different committees demand differing amounts of time. So while one councillor's list may appear long and another's not so long, that is not indicative of the amount of time a councillor puts in. Here are the assignments. I'll do them by councillor. Councillor Lindgren, Environmental Advisory Committee. Councillor Lindgren will also serve on the Okanagan College Regional Advisory Committee, the Salmon Arm Fall Fair Board, and the Salmon Arm Nature Bay Enhancement Society, SABNIS. These committees will provide Councillor Lindgren with a good opportunity to get experience across a wide breadth of our community, and I appreciate her taking them on. Councillor Cannon, the Community Heritage Commission. Councillor Cannon will also serve on the Chamber of Commerce, the CSRD Tourism Committee, the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues Board, and the Shuswap Recreation Society. Councillor Cannon and I, along with other councillors here and community members, share the idea of hosting the 55+ games in 2023. That's our goal. Many of these committees have connections to those, and so I appreciate Councillor Cannon taking them on. Councillor Eliason, Downtown Parking Commission and the Columbia Shuswap Regional District. While this list appears short, what does not appear on the list are Councillor Eliason's involvement in a lot of regional work, including being on the board of the Southern Interior Local Government Association, past president, the Municipal Insurance Association Board, and the UBCM Board. This is very important and time-consuming work, and it certainly benefits the City of Salmon Arm. Thank you, Councillor Eliason, for taking those on. Councillor Flynn, Columbia Shuswap Regional District, Downtown Salmon Arm, Salmon Arm Economic Development, and Shuswap Community Futures. Councillor Flynn, we appreciate your expertise and believe that you are well suited to bring these strengths to each of these committees, carrying forward your work on CSRD and DSA, and returning to economic development and taking on community futures. Thank you. Councillor Wallace Richmond, Social Impact Advisory Committee, Cultural Master Plan Task Force, Housing Task Force, and First Nations Partnerships. Councillor Wallace Richmond has started some important work on these committees. Her work with social impact and in preparing for the building of a cultural master plan are works in progress. They are very important to our city. Thank you for taking them on and continuing. Councillor Lavery, Agriculture Advisory Committee, Greenways Liaison Committee, Housing Task Force, Okanagan Regional Library Board, and Shuswap Watershed Council. Councillor Lavery's work with Councillor Wallace Richmond on the Housing Task Force is a key portfolio for this city. Our goal is to position ourselves so that we pull together multiple players and funding sources, enabling affordable housing to be built. I'm very appreciative of the work that you two have done this far and in educating us. Thank you. The mayor is the ex officio of all committees, but with this incredibly capable group, I'm certainly wanting to let them take the lead in the areas that they're in. For myself, I look forward to continuing working on the airport. That's both regionally and outside of our region. We've started work there, but there's a lot of work to do. For this council, I have formalized the liaison positions with the RCMP and with our fire department and with the Shuswap Emergency Program. That's in recognition of their importance to our community. Councillor Wallace Richmond and I will work together on First Nations partnerships. We will continue to grow these relationships that Mayor Cooper has established, and we will work with our neighbours in mutually beneficial projects. Lastly, in the new year, I will be pulling together a mayor's task force on the highway. This task force will have 3 jobs. 1, to research and recommend to council a bypass option for commercial traffic. 2, to make recommendations to council to ensure safer pedestrian and vehicular traffic through Salmon Arm. And 3, to research possible sites along the highway that might be established as a tourist information, RV pull-off, and truck stop. Again, I want to thank council for the input. As you can imagine, 30 committees and 7 people, it's a juggling act. And council has been most cooperative, and helpful in applying their strengths to their committees. I appreciate it. We have agreed as a group that we'll review these committees in 2 years. If there's no comments from council, I will call the question. All those in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Gallery, we're almost done. The last item of business is the LGLA Elected Officials Seminar, January 23rd to 25th, 2018 in Kelowna. Thank you, Councillor Eliason has moved that. Seconder, Councillor Lavery. I heard from all councillors that all of them are interested in attending this seminar, and so I appreciate that. The funds will come from the 2019 budget line council expenses. This is like going to school for council. Not only is it important for people new to this chair to go back to school, we all need to be refreshed, and things are changing fast. This job is not what it was 5 years ago. So it's terrific that all 7 of us will be going to Kelowna for a couple of days in January so that we can update and be as current as possible for the city. Any comments on the motion? I hope this goes like this for 4 years. All in favor? Thank you. The motion is passed. In closing, thank you so much, family, relatives, friends, community members who have attended this inaugural meeting. We have a very big cake. Don't leave. Barb is going to help out with the cake at the front, and we would like you to, we will circulate certainly as council and visit with you. Thank you so much. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Wallace-Richmond, second Councillor Lindgren. All those in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Congratulations.